Good morning to you. Water gets some shutoff to the Bozeman residents today. The shutoff was planned, the other was not. This is a little confusing. We're going to explain it to you in just a moment.
The fate of a former Madison County sheriff is now in the hands of the jury. I'll tell you if they've come to a decision yet.
Good morning to you. Welcome to your Friday. We're learning how to speak a little bit here. Learning how to read.
Water gets a shutoff.
Water gets a shutoff. Water gets shut off today. But it is important, and we will tell you about it here in just a moment.
Words are hard.
Happy Friday. We made it to Friday. I don't even believe it.
Awesome. Hey, I'm going to take over just to bail Chet out and let him clear his...
Please do.
Check out this photo from Karen Faust. Thanks for sending that in. This is from yesterday.
Wow.
Of course, we had that freezing fog out. Man, it was beautiful. We got a lot of photos, and of course, we'd love for you to share them with us. Morning temperatures right now into the 20s. Look at that. 48 degrees in Livingston, 10 degrees in West Yellowstone. The wind making a big difference. There are a few clouds out there. Daytime highs today into the 50s. I want to encourage everybody, go outside and play. I'm not telling you to play hooky. I'm just telling you enjoy the day while it's here. We do have some big changes on the way. We'll talk about that coming up in just a few minutes.
And I want to clarify, that wasn't your fault. That's the way the script was, and you just did what you were supposed to.
I read whatever's on the prompter like Ron Burgundy.
I know, Ron. You got it perfect. That was great.
Let's get to some serious news out of Madison County here at 6:31 on your Friday morning. Closing arguments and a verdict all happened late yesterday in the trial for Madison County's former sheriff.
MTN's John Amy was in Virginia City and has the story.
A jury in Virginia City came to a partial verdict in the misconduct trial of former Madison County Sheriff Roger Thompson. The jury found him guilty of misdemeanor official misconduct. However, they could not come to a decision on the two more serious felony charges of perjury and tampering with evidence. The prosecution claims that Roger Thompson, while acting as sheriff of Madison County, intentionally destroyed drug evidence in order to protect a confidential informant. The incident in question occurred on June 11, 2017, when Thompson was using a confidential informant on a drug buy. Before the buy went down, officers at the scene said they found drug paraphernalia and a bag of methamphetamine in the informant's vehicle.
That when they put those drugs on the hood of the truck, that Roger Thompson was standing right there.
Thompson has maintained he never saw any drugs on the informant that evening. Thompson's defense attorney said this case should have never gone to trial.
We have blown this case way out of proportion. You should not be here sitting on this jury today. You shouldn't be here.
He said this issue is about a power struggle and not a criminal matter.
I think it is very clear, ladies and gentlemen, there was some severe dysfunction in the sheriff's office for quite some time.
At least for now, this case is not over. The prosecution said it will seek a new trial on the two undecided felony charges. In Virginia City, John Amy, MTN News.
Thank you for that, John. In other news, a student at MSU is facing serious charges after campus police say he held a knife to the throat of a woman he was living with in a campus apartment.
According to Gallatin County court documents, Garner Boyer III charged with assault with a weapon. Campus police say an argument started between Boyer and the woman when Boyer pulled out a knife and held it to her throat several times. Now, that incident left a 4-inch non-life-threatening cut on her neck, and all this happened with several children nearby inside the same apartment. If convicted, Boyer could face up to 20 years in prison.
And Gallatin County Sheriff's deputies say they have now identified a man and a woman who they say were stealing items from the Bozeman hot springs.
Deputies say the couple in these photos were stealing belongings from patrons at the hot springs and then tried to use a stolen credit card at a grocery store in town. Thanks to public tips after the release of these photos, deputies say they were able to track them down for questioning. The investigation into this, by the way, is still ongoing.
And former Blackfeet Tribal Chairman Willie Sharp pleads guilty to wire fraud. According to court records, Sharp approved overtime at the Blackfeet Head Start program, knowing that the overtime claims were false. More than 58 false overtime hours were claimed, totaling $174,000 in federal funds. Sentencing is scheduled for March 3rd. Sharp could spend a maximum of 20 years in prison and face a $250,000 fine.
Also, the Department of Public Health and Human Services has announced 2 more cases of vaping-related illnesses in Montana. That brings the total number of cases to 7, including 1 death. Both of the new cases are out of Cascade County. One of the individuals was in their teens, the other in their 20s, and both had a history of vaping.
Now here's a heads up for Bozeman residents, and this is what we got a good chuckle about a moment ago, about another water main shut off today.
This one will happen again from today. It's already started. It'll run until 9 o'clock in the morning. That means it's underway, as I mentioned. Homes in the 1500 block of West Babcock Street will be affected, along with a couple of addresses on West Main and South 19th Avenue. You can see it there on the map. Shutdown will allow crews to cap off an abandoned fire hydrant over on West Babcock.
So until 9 a.m. this morning.
Correct.
Thank you for that. And a water main leak in Bozeman caused about a block or 2 of residents to go without water yesterday for a few hours.
Bozeman City water officials say they had to cut water around 9 o'clock in the morning when this happened, forcing them to cut a hole into North 10th Street. City closed that portion of the street between Durston and Villard as they worked to patch the spot. Problem was fixed. Water was turned back on about 2 hours later.
And with Veterans Day right around the corner, the Montana National Guard plans to honor those who have served with their 3rd annual Purple Heart Hunt.
I love this one. Up to 5 Purple Heart recipients will have a chance to hunt mule deer on the training area of Fort William Henry Harrison. This is exciting news for avid hunters who qualify for the opportunity, as Fort Harrison, a large facility with plenty of wildlife. The land is normally off limits to hunters, but if chosen, Purple Heart recipients will have the grounds to themselves for an entire day.
That's really cool.
Awesome. Some big deer out there too.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And Montana Governor Steve Bullock has started running TV ads for his presidential campaign in Iowa.
He is the only Democratic candidate running who has won a state that Trump won.
This ad showcases what Bullock says is a highlight reel of progressive accomplishments in Montana. In a press release, the Bullock campaign says the ad buy shows the campaign's commitment to Iowa, which is the site of the first caucus coming up in February.
He has certainly been pounding the pavement in Iowa.
Yes,
There's
he has.
no question about that. And Yellowstone National Park has just released a study of more than 4,000 park visitors that was conducted back in 2018.
Yeah, the study wanted to find out how the park can better handle the rapidly increasing number of people who pass through the gates. In just 7 years, from 2009 to 2016, park visitation grew by 1 million people a year. The study shows most of those people don't feel like the park is overcrowded, and most said they enjoyed the visit. 67% of the people was the first-time visit, 85% said the visit was good to excellent experience, and 92% said they waited 10 minutes or less to get into the park. 86% said they waited less than 10 minutes to find a parking place.
That's not too bad.
You know, the narrative that the visitors are crashing the resources of the park is inaccurate. Mm-hmm. On the infrastructure and staffing, I think that's one of my biggest concerns there. You know, what are the impacts on the staff? How can we do better?
That study was conducted using in-person interviews and GPS-connected tablets for several real-time surveys as people traveled throughout the park.
That's good, because you got to get it while all that information,
it was
those
super
memories
cool how
are
they
fresh.
did that, so it actually documented where they stopped and when they stopped and how long they were stopped.
That's pretty cool.
It was real-time stuff.
Yep.
It was great.
Yep. Now, back in September, we introduced you to a Polson woman who took matters into her own hands to stop speeding cars on her streets.
That's right. Patty Baumgartner sat in a chair alongside the road on Flathead Lake's Finley Point, pointing a hairdryer at passing cars to try to slow them down.
I love this. Now, a photo of her went viral, and now she's landed a spot on daytime TV with an interview with Kelly Clarkson.
Hi, Patty. I'm Kelly Clarkson. Hi. Okay. First of all, Patty, I just want to say I think you're hilarious and one of my favorite people. Where did you get this idea?
Well, we live on Flathead Lake, and we're very close to Glacier National Park, so we get a lot of tourists going around on our road, and they fly by. So we just thought one day we would, or my son thought he'd put me up on the road and give me a hairdryer and pretend it was a radar gun.
I'm sorry, I just love this. Now you can watch the full interview tomorrow on the Kelly Clarkson Show, which airs at 2 p.m. and watch it with the original story with Patty. Check that out on our website. So I'm sorry, is that on today?
I believe it's
the Kelly
today at
Clarkson
2 o'clock.
Show's
Yeah,
on
I
today.
believe that's today, yeah.
Oh wow, the picture the fact that she said her son put her up on the road, because when she started making the viral circuit,
favorite part is the car slowed down.
They really did.
Oh no, gun.
Did you see all the law enforcement in the crowd? I just love it. It is time for a quick break here on your Friday morning. Thank you for joining us. When we return, we take a look back to 1 year ago when the Paradise Fire claimed the lives of 85 people in California.
But first, here's Gail King.
Good morning to you. Ahead on CBS this morning, it's time for many of us to break out the heavy coats. Oh no, we're tracking a 1-2 punch of Arctic blasts. Some parts of the U.S. could see record-breaking cold. Plus, in our Eye on Earth series, we're going to take a look at how microplastics can end up in the food we eat. That's not a good thing. We'll see you at 7 o'clock on the dot.